On today's episode, we're going to be talking about finding yourself and how to be comfortable alone. What's good, everybody? Welcome back to the Justin and No podcast, where we make knowledge your strongest weapon.
What's up, folks? It's a pleasure to have you guys back. We hope everybody's doing well. We got a couple good things to talk about today.
Yes, finding your true self. A lot of people actually are having a problem with that. They really don't know their self. And we're just trying to talk to you guys today about how actually being alone is the best way to finding your true self.
Yeah, so to start off, I just want to make a point for those who have seen it. I feel like it's what I call it necessarily viral, but anyway, there's been a chart going around online where it shows you how much time throughout the course of life as you get older,
Mhm.
how much of your everyday time is broken down into time spent with family, children, loved ones, coworkers, significant other, and then last but not least, yourself. And what the chart depicts is that as you get older, throughout the course of life, the amount of time spent alone on average daily increases. And it's a pretty scary increase. It's not like a slow, gradual increase. Like it's a gradual increase, but it's pretty rapid. And all the other things, for the most part, decline other than your partner. It also goes up the time spent with partner. But basically, what I'm saying is it's pretty damn obvious that it's important and it's worthwhile to take the time out to, figure out about yourself, getting comfortable, being alone, in a secure, not in an isolated, depressed way, not in that sense, but just being able to enjoy your own company, trust in yourself, provide yourself with comfort, encouragement,
Mhm.
happiness, forms of expressing yourself, all those type of things, getting to know your true nature, your true self, who you really are. It sounds kind of cliche, but that is very important for the sake of the quality of life that you want to live.
Yeah. And another thing, too, we're all trying to say that, like you said, not be isolated in yourself and, be depressed or anything like that, but more so not to be dependent on your happiness for it to be around other people. You should be happy in confiding and being with yourself. Because at the end of the day, even when you're with people, you gotta think on your own. You know what I'm saying? You're in your own head. So if you're cool with yourself and you don't let your thoughts go out wild to the point where it's damaging your further thought process, you have to get to that point if you're not there already. So finding time out alone on knowing what makes you happy, on knowing the things that you really want to do in life, on figuring out what are your leisures, it's a thing that you definitely have to take a advantage of with the time that you have alone.
Yeah, I want to ask you a little question for the viewers to get a little insight, maybe a wise perspective from somebody. Um, for you yourself, what is something or what is a certain way that you've been practicing to master being alone? I guess I want to say the word I want to choose is like safely
Mhm.
and positively. Not again, not that isolation of I'm lonely. It's I'm alone right now. There's nobody physically near me. This is my
Mhm.
alone time. And you make the best of it rather than let it eat you. Like what are the things you do, like whether it's physically, mentally, spiritually, like what's your practice, your beliefs on that, your approach?
Okay, so the one thing I would say when you're alone with yourself is just don't be bored. Like, don't be around boredom. Try to find some parts in your time that you have to do things that are productive. In my case, I'm a very productive person, so I like learning. So what I do is every second that I have by myself, either whether it's with sleeping because I like sleeping, and you know trying to better myself, I read, I pick up different skills, stuff like that. Like I always try to be productive. But if you're not a productive person, try to surround your time with yourself with things that you like to do. So if you like to play, music, if you're a rapper or whatever, write songs or learn how to write songs or just freestyle if you want to do that. Or if you want to, if you're an artist, like you like to draw, then surround your time in drawing. And every time that you get putting towards yourself, you're bettering yourself in some, way.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I guess I could use, the phases of life that I went through as examples. When I was really young, I can't really give you a number what age this kind of stopped, but I've recently been getting back on that, which is reading.
Hmm.
Um, I like to read, and honestly, I could read damn near anything as long as I feel like one, it captures my attention. Well, one, most importantly, being it's worthwhile educationally, like I could get something out of it, and then two, it captures my attention. It could keep me focused and or entertained, I guess, or brought in. Anyway, that's one of the things that I think is very important for a lot of people. And when I say reading, I'm not talking about it doesn't have to be specifically high level reading. You don't got to read a textbook or some type of article only that only engineers could really benefit from. Like it could be any type of reading. Like your and this is specifically for you to make the most out of your alone time. What you refer to, which is boredom,
Hmm.
that could lead to a lot of detrimental things, self-destruction, self-sabotaging. Even if you don't think so actively or initially or on the spot, you're doing a lot of things that are self-sabotaging when your all your free time, all your alone time is filled with boredom to the point that you start developing habits and doing things that you really don't want to do just so that you're not bored when you're alone. Like, you're just doing things that you're not really getting anything from. It's not even giving you a sense of satisfaction. It's just eliminating that sense of being lonely and being alone. And that's very unhealthy. So for me, reading was one of the big things because I've recently been reading a lot again. And when I say recently, I'd say over the past like year or two. And there was like a 6 year span of my life where I wasn't reading and I was being very self destructive and I was self sabotaging. And yeah, I might have not created any permanent damages, but I've also hindered my growth and slowed down my growth because I chose to fill that alone time with nonsense and things that were just getting my mind off of being alone rather than giving me the satisfaction of enjoying my own company. So reading is one of those things where, of course, you can't do it honestly unless you're alone, even if it's not physically, mentally. Like you got to be focused on your reading. You can't be talking or doing any other activities while you're reading. So that's one of a good practice that I like to practice
Hmm.
nowadays when I do have alone time. And it doesn't have to be any specific reading. Again, it could be religious, it could be personal, it could be just reading a newspaper, anything.
Yeah. I would say that, finding time alone yourself, and this is one thing I would say with anything that you do, try to find something that's not in a detriment to yourself that you can do for hours on end without ever feeling like it's a lot of time that you spent. Because once you figure it out, like, oh, I read a book and the book is actually really interesting. And I've read the book for 5 hours now and it only feels like it's 30 minutes. That means it's something that you really like to do. Because if you can pass time with something that you're doing and it feels like you really haven't basically done anything with it because it's been so short period of time because you want to spend more time doing it, then you should actually look into, taking more time out and doing that activity because it's something that you really love to do.
Yeah, I think you bring up a really good point. Honestly, I didn't even think to say that about doing something that if you spend 4 hours doing it and it only feels like 30 minutes, but it got to be something productive too. It can't
Yeah,
be some
productive.
bullshit.
Nah, it
Can't
can't
be
be
something,
crazy
that you,
shit
you can,
that's
don't tell me you're going to spend your alone time for 4 hours playing video games every single time you got alone time. Like, yeah, well, video games might be a form of stress relief and whatever, a distraction from your real world problems. That's obviously not productive. It's not going to get you anywhere. You're not going to be an improved person if you spend 4 hours a day playing video games for the next year. Anyway, it got to be something that's worthwhile. And honestly, when I say productive, it could be strictly stress relief because if you could eliminate stress from your life, then other aspects of your life can and will improve.
Down.
But like it can't be things like video games or smoking or watching TV. Like those, like, yeah, while they might be you think they're a form of stress relief, it's not. That form of stress relief only lasts for as long as you're doing those things. You know, the stress relief of practicing meditation or going to the gym, that lasts outside the gym, that carries over. Watching TV, as soon as you stop watching that TV, boom, all your
Back to
stress
the
comes
real
right
world.
back. Like it's as if you didn't do anything. You didn't relieve anything. You just paused it. Actually, you didn't relieve any stress. So video games, things like that of that nature, like just wastely activities. That's not what we're referring to. But it could be something as simple as stress relief. You do a certain activity, a certain practice, whatever it is. You, I don't know, read some fantasy book that's not going to really give you real life benefits, but you're still reading. Your mind is working productively.
Mhm.
That's way better than watching video games. That's still going to produce way better results and long term stress relief. So it doesn't have to be like actual, you know, attainable knowledge. Whereas, like, okay, well, now I'm better versed in the financial world. It doesn't always have to be the case, but it does have to bring some positive to your life. And when I say positive, it's not momentary, some long term, lasting positive, outside of the activity carries over.
Yeah, and also I would say with finding yourself, honestly, and this is a big thing for a lot of people, the only way that you're gonna actually find your true self is without the opinions and the peer pressure and the how do I say the outside look on you for yourself. Because when you're actually by yourself, you're free from everybody's opinions and pressure, so you can actually be your true self. Because if you always stay around other people and you surround yourself with people all the time and you never have time for yourself or you never make that time for yourself, you're going to be sculpted in an image of other people. And long term, that is going to be your detriment because you won't truly be happy because you never took the time out to actually find yourself. Now, if you go into solace and spend that time alone and actually figure out the things that you like to do and what are your stressors and the things that you don't like to do, then when you're actually around people, you won't surround yourself around some people that you know for yourself, like, this is me, this is what I'm doing, this is what I love to do. You're not going to surround yourself around people that you don't like or people that's going to, harm you or these things. Because if you never take that time out to know yourself, you won't know who to surround yourself with so that you can be a version of your true self.
Yeah, as you were explaining that, I knew exactly where you were going, and that's why I'm over here chuckling.
Mhm.
Yeah, taking that time out to really learn yourself, it'll carry directly over to allowing or not allowing certain people around you when you're not alone. Taking that alone time to yourself will further help you understand what type of people you could actually be around in your true form, in your true essence, um, passionately, wholly, you know what I'm saying? Meaningfully, the type of people that bring the best out of you, that when you'll find all those things out by exploring yourself properly in your alone time and mastering your alone time. And also, on the other side, when you do come into contact with people who aren't pleasant, you do have those moments of the day where you dealt with a situation or a person who you wish you would not have dealt with. Taking that alone time to recover, recoup, regather yourself, like, yo, I'm not a nut, or yo, I'm justified in feeling like that was not good to deal with. That was not pleasant. I wasn't excited about that. I wish that wasn't like, to be able to really feel your. I don't mean this in a soft way. I mean this really like in a healthy way. Like for you to, especially as men, I really don't advocate you being very emotional in front of other people. But bro, you're alone and ain't nobody. That's a judgment free zone, my brother. Especially for you men out there, you by yourself. Ain't
Get it
nobody
all
got
out.
ain't nobody gotta notice. You take that time. Don't go to no therapist. Don't tell. I mean, if you do, if you want to, cool, so be it. I'm saying just generally for your own self, for your own self improvement, you don't need none of that shit. You take that time, like you said, get it all out. Go punch the wall, talk to yourself in the mirror, curse yourself out for failing in a certain way, hype yourself up for excelling in a certain aspect, whatever it is you need to do. Show your emotion to yourself, my brother. You're alone. Let that shit out. You know, clap for yourself. I guess put yourself in check. You know, reprimand yourself for whatever you need to do. Get all that out, figure that out by yourself. Don't constantly, when you're constantly around other people, you never have that time where you could just sit there and self-reflect, like, yo, I need to do this, or I wish I never did that, or I'm glad I did this, I should keep doing more. All those things, you don't figure that out when you spend so much time around people, around other people. Take your alone time because you're gonna be forced to spend it alone anyway. So just start off when you're young. Start off when you got the chance, the luxury, you know, the freedom to do that and really learn more about yourself in the sense that you, when you get older, may God bless you with a family and kids. And me, when the same thing happens to me, as much as I love my boy, we're just gonna be spending less time together. And that's all good. Like there's nothing wrong with that. So me as a person, I can't be okay with just being around people all the time and not ever using my alone time to the full advantage, you know, to my full advantage. Like you just, you know, you learn it, you get better, you improve. Everybody gonna spend more time by themselves, as that chart showed depicted. You're gonna spend more time by yourself because if you don't do nothing different, the next person is anyway. So you're forced to spend more time alone as you go throughout life. So just, I guess, just learn it. You know what I'm saying? I really feel like I don't want to beat the horse to death, but we're gonna have to. So I'm gonna rest my case right there.
Yeah, honestly, with being true to yourself, spending time with yourself, you know, there's a thing that everybody wants to talk about now. It's called self care.
And no, it's not the physical. You know, take care of your face.
Mental health awareness, right? You better your mental health. You better your mental health.
He almost said hair because I was talking about that bullshit. Yeah.
But yeah, mental health awareness. To better your mental health, you gotta know yourself, man. You gotta know your triggers. And you won't know about yourself unless you spend time with yourself. Right? You matter. You matter. Right? You do matter. I'm gonna say it again. You matter. Make sure that you're spending 3 times as much time with yourself than you are with anyone else. Because at the end of the day, when you're driving alone in your car, in your thoughts, or even around people in your thoughts, you're going to be alone in your thoughts. So let your thoughts be ones of positive energy or productivity so that you can be okay with confiding in yourself.
I do want to bring up a point for those people who might, it hasn't clicked with them yet. If they're the type of person who isn't getting the most out of their alone time, this is for you right here. If you're the person in a group of 3 or 4 or more people that can't go 15 to 30 minutes to an hour without making noise, without looking for attention, without participating in unnecessary conversation or action or whatever it is, if you can't be comfortable around people while still being in your own head, you always got to be a part of something, then you for sure have not been comfortable or have not been practicing being comfortable being alone. And what I mean by that is, for example, me, I could hang out with 3, 4 people. Let's say it's like a night thing, you know, like we've been chilling for a couple hours, you know, a night, nobody got nothing going on. Anyway, there's a little gathering between 3, 4 of my boys. and we're chilling for an hour, everybody doing their own thing in terms of like, having side conversation, boom. I could be the one, I will most likely be the one who by himself, not like in a antisocial way, but I'm comfortable. Like I don't feel any judgment. I don't feel there's anything wrong. I don't feel there's anything antisocial about it. Because if I have nothing to say, if I have nothing to contribute to whatever the environment is at that very moment, I'm not gonna force the issue. I could just sit back until whatever somebody opens up another subject, or I don't know, I figured out something that I might want to share, or whatever, something comes to my mind like, oh shit, maybe, this could be something we could laugh about, whatever. Until something naturally happens, I'm not looking for it. You know what I'm saying? So for me, I'm comfortable being around other people and still being my own self, being my own individual. I have that individuality. Like I don't need to behave like them. You know what I'm saying? I don't need to, and it doesn't mean that I think I'm better than them. It just I don't feel the urge to participate when my participation is not required. I don't feel the urge to give an input just for the sake of giving an input. If you're one of those people who can't sit still, and it doesn't mean I don't have a good time, bro. I have a great time around my friends, and I'm sure, not I think, I'm sure they could say the same thing around me. I'm a pretty wise guy and funny guy myself, if I must say so. Anyway, I could comfortably be me if I need to take a 20-minute mental break, even a 10-minute mental break to just not say nothing, just shut up. I could do that. So if you're the person who can't do that, and as soon as you guys finish hanging out, you find in the next thing to do, my brother, my sister, you need to figure out a lot more about yourself because eventually you will be forced to not be able to do that. Those same people, as you get older, are not going to have the time to really be around you that much. So even though you would like to be around them and you might have the time, they're not going to. So what's the only option left? Spending time by yourself.
Yeah, I mean, getting older is a thing that we all got to do. And when you get older, a lot more responsibilities happen. And we all got the same 24 hours in one day.
Now mine is 25. Yeah, go ahead.
We all got the same 24 hours in a day, minus him. He got 25. He got
Yeah.
one extra hour. He's special. Um, when you have those responsibilities, it takes away from your time. And then you have to prioritize what means the most to you. And once you get older, I mean, hopefully, mostly everybody wants this a family of their own. Your family becomes more priority than anyone else into your life, right? So learn to be great by yourself, be willing to be around yourself because there's going to come a time in place in your life that the people around you that was kicking it back there and back in the day are not going to be the same people kicking around you in the present. So just remember that.
Yeah, and I guess one of the final points I'd like to make is don't let the outside, and this is really, really the final step to, I think, to really getting comfortable with yourself. Don't let the next person dictate for you really how much or how you should be spending your time, and what I mean by that is if somebody is shaming you, peer pressuring you for removing yourself or distancing yourself, even if it's not a complete cutoff, like if you just have that friend who it's an everyday thing or that person or whoever it is, and then all of a sudden switch it from every day to like once a week, you decide to do that and they shame you for that. The final step of really getting comfortable with yourself is knowing that, this person doesn't understand that, and eventually this person is going to be self-destructive for themselves and sabotaging for the person people around them, because if they can't realize that, then by default they will sabotage you by influencing you to spend your time how they think you should spend it rather than how you think you should spend it. So the final step is what I'm trying to say is just standing on it. Like once you find those healthy ways, those beneficial ways of spending your alone time and how much of it and how you should spend it and all those, once you finally figured it all out, and then somebody come to ruin all that progress you made, the very final step, the stamp to know that, all right, you've actually made real progress is to be able to dismiss that and not feel and be confident in yourself and okay with yourself enough, respect yourself enough to know like, yeah, even though what they say sounds good, I know as soon as I go back to that, I'm gonna lose a little part of my true self. So I'm good. I'm gonna just let them have their thing. I'm gonna take the high road and continue doing what I've been doing and make more progress and more progress and more progress while they sit there and watch. Don't watch. It don't matter. It shouldn't matter. That's the final stamp, the stamp of approval of like, yeah, I've been doing good for myself. That's when you could go look at yourself in the mirror like, yeah, keep going, bro.
Yeah, I would say to let everything, come to fruition and to end this episode. Please, guys, take the time out alone to find your true self. Because at the end of the day, you're the only person that really matters in your life. So please make it your priority to take some time out for yourself each and every day. This has been Justin and No Podcast, where we make knowledge your strongest weapon.
Thank you for stopping by. As always, have a blessed rest of your day.
Peace.